Commanding attention in the first 90 seconds. Imagine walking into a boardroom filled with power brokers, each of them with years of executive experience, sharp business acumen, and a firm grasp of strategic priorities. You have 20 minutes on the agenda. That's it. And in those 20 minutes, you need to convey not just what the cyber threats are and why they exist, but why your voice matters, why your insights drive value, and why the business can't afford to ignore what you're going to bring. Most fail within those first 20 minutes, not because of lack of technical skill, but because they lack board fluency. They don't know how to lead or how to lead upwards. According to a 2024 PwC study, only 39% of board members are very satisfied with the quality of their cybersecurity reporting. Yet, 72% of boards now rank cybersecurity as their top 3 risk in the organization. So the board is interesting, they are paying attention, but the message, it's just not landing. This video is going to be changing that. It's about winning in the boardroom. So my name is Darren Argyle, and I've served as the Group Chief Information Security Risk Officer at Standard Chartered Bank. I've been the CISO at Qantas Airways and S&P Global, and also a technology leader at IBM. I've presented in boardrooms where cybersecurity has transformed from a cost center to a driver of growth, trust, and long-term value to the business. Over these next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through a practical, proven leadership framework designed specifically for cybersecurity leaders that are looking to take cybersecurity to the highest levels of influence. It's called the flywheel effect, a model that builds on 5 momentum areas. These are the core moves used by the world's most trusted cyber leaders to establish lasting credibility, align with executive goals, and drive strategic outcomes. So let's dive in. So the flywheel effect, coined by John Collins in the Good to Great book, captures how great outcomes don't happen in a single breakthrough. They happen through consistent, compounding effort. Picture a massive flywheel. Hard to get started, but once you've got that momentum going, it spins under its own momentum. That's what leadership influence looks like. You start slow, you face resistance, you feel like you're not moving forward, but then as you keep going, the momentum builds and you're shaping the boardroom agenda and your own leadership style. This flywheel effect has 5 critical momentum builders. The first one, mobilize executive alignment. The second one, build trust and institutional credibility. The third one is expand organizational influence and impact. The fourth one is thrive in high-stakes committees. And the last one, finally number 5, is embed sustainable confidence. And there's a bonus one at the end, number 6, if you stick around, which will give you some really insights, and it's worked incredibly well for me. So you master these 5, and you won't just survive in the boardroom, you'll win and you'll thrive. Momentum builder number 1, mobilize executive alignment. This is where the journey begins. Executives make decisions based on value, not on vulnerability. If you want them to back your cybersecurity strategy, you need to stop trying to convince them in just pure risk language and start influencing them with business language that relates to risks. That means linking cybersecurity to growth, reputation, innovation, and resilience. Not just hypothetical risks. It needs to be concrete in business terms. So how do you do that? Well, start with mapping. Use the executive mapping to cyber priorities to growth and performance and business objectives. This includes mapping cyber priorities to enterprise risk categories that are business outcomes, connecting product launches and strategic initiatives of the organization, and visualizing dependencies on things like external third-party risk, which may be a business driver for your organization if it sells product to large organizations. The next element of this is leveraging cyber crisis simulations. Don't treat cyber simulations as just a technical check-in. Use them to educate, engage, and align executive decision-making under pressure. Design injects that expose business risk, not just IT faults, and make room for ethical, regulatory, and reputational themes. Simulation should model worst-case scenarios, so it looks like there's a no-win scenario, and engage them on all different aspects. This gets them into this preparedness mindset. The other advantage of doing a cyber crisis simulation is not only the preparedness, but it also serves as an opportunity to educate. And once you educate in the boardroom, it drives a top-down agenda and really drives your momentum. In some instances, you might want to bring in some notable authorities. This can really help you earn trust. Invite maybe former regulators or industry cyber leaders, or even cybercrime authorities, either from the police or those different groups within your local government areas. They can really add some credibility to your voice in the boardroom or even on a one-to-one basis. According to Gartner, organizations that align cyber strategy with business priorities are 3 times more likely to gain budget approval without resistance. So mobilizing executive alignment isn't just a quarterly pitch, it's a weekly discipline. Momentum builder number 2, build trust and institutional credibility. Trust isn't built in a moment, it accumulates through consistency, reinforced through transparency, and cemented with credibility. If alignment is the spark that gets Leadership Flywheel moving, trust is the engine that keeps it spinning. In cybersecurity, trust has 2 layers, the personal trust and institutional trust. Personal trust is about how well executives perceive you, your competence, your communication, and calmness under pressure. But institutional trust is more powerful. It's where the board trusts your system, your processes, and your people, even when you're not in the room. So what do? First of all, you can formalize a regulatory engagement framework. Boards and regulators want confidence, not charisma. That confidence comes from seeing discipline and how you engage them. A regulatory framework allows you to define who will meet the regulators, when they can be engaged, and create reusable briefing packs with trends, updates, and gaps. Ensure all interactions are prepared with clarity and consistency, and show the board that you aren't just reacting to regulators, you're building relationships with them. A second area is defining and communicating your risk appetite. Risk appetite is not just a board level formality, it's a language of trust. If you can't define what level of risk is acceptable, you can't defend your program. You need to know exactly where you're aiming. That's super important. And you want to know how and when you're going to be getting into risk appetite and what does that actually mean. So your target and thresholds need to align. And thirdly, establish a cadence of predictability. Trust is a rhythm. Establish reporting cadence that provide monthly leadership updates, traffic-like indicators, quarterly board packs with visual summaries, dashboards that align to enterprise metrics. Never surprise the board. Repetition builds familiarity. Familiarity builds trust. And the fourth area, stress test your narrative before it counts. Before stepping into high-stakes meetings, run a red team challenge with your own messaging. Ask a peer to simulate board pushback, refine your answers for clarity and brevity, and impact. If you can clearly explain it under a pressure through peers, you'll be ready in the boardroom. The fifth area is project calmness, clarity, and control. Avoid flooding the board with dashboards that are confusing. Focus on 2 to 3 metrics. Ideally, you only want 3 metrics for your risk appetite statement anyway. And some bonus moves. Publish quarterly cyber resilience updates to the board. This gives them a real sense that we're moving in the right direction. According to a National Association of Corporate Directors, only 28% of boards believe management provides high-level cybersecurity insight and transparency. So this is your opportunity. Don't just earn trust, design for it. Don't ask for credibility, build systems that demonstrate it. So next, you can take trust and scale it across the entire organization. Momentum builder number 3. Expand your organizational influence and impact. Leadership without influence is just a title. To truly lead, you must be able to shape conversations, decisions, and outcomes across the functions, levels, and time zones. Influence isn't just about control, it's about relevance, clarity, and being able to be seen as indispensable to your organizational success. Cybersecurity can operate in a siloed domain. It must integrate with every part of the business, from marketing campaigns to product development, M&A due diligence, frontline operations. The question is, how do you embed yourself and your team into those moments that matter? Develop two distinct strategies, one for cyber of the organization and one for your department. The cybersecurity strategy is obviously going to focus on the capabilities, the control maturity, on how you're going to influence the control, risk, and deployment across the entire organization. But your department strategy talks about your team and what measures and KPIs they are going to be running to. Craft and publish a cyber service catalog. A cybersecurity service catalog gives you a great influence tool across, not only within your team, but across the organization. It gives you a shop window into what your team will be delivering. It's a great way to show that you're accessible and you can share it with many departments and your manager to prove that you have good control over what you're delivering and you can see deliverable outcomes to each of your customers across the organization. A really good way to make sure that you get full engagement across all your organization, especially your own team, is to do skip level engagement. It's one of the things that I believe builds real trusted liaisons. Empower mid-level leaders in your team to lead those conversations and do skip level reviews as much as possible throughout your team consistently. Create some cross-functional OKRs that can demonstrate some shared outcomes. That's a really good way of engaging your own organization. Market your function internally. Run some quarterly business spotlights, invite commercial teams in to present. Really humanize your team. This creates narratives that say we don't slow the business down, we make it faster. Okay, according to McKinsey, organizations where cybersecurity is embedded across the business lines report 35% faster time to value on digital programs and significantly higher enterprise trust scores. You've earned trust, now you need to build distributed influence. This is how cybersecurity moves from a function to a force multiplier. Momentum builder number 4, thrive in high-stakes committees. This is where your visibility becomes power. High-stakes committees, like board risk committees and executive governance councils, are where reputations are made and lost. They are the rooms of scrutiny, but also rooms of opportunity. Leaders who thrive there aren't just talking about things from a technical perspective, but they're strategically poised and structurally prepared and emotionally in control. So the first thing is shift from reporting to storytelling. Boards don't just want raw data, they want synthesis, they want clarity, they want meaning. Your job is not to flood them with charts, although charts are important, but to give them confidence and grasp their attention. Use a narrative. There's a real storytelling narrative that anchors your story to business impact and cyber consequence. Structure everything, not just your materials, but standardize templates so they get to see them on a regular basis and understand the flow. This makes sure that they can see something on a repeatable basis and can understand the story from one board meeting to the next. This really helps them understand how one thing leads to another. Do some pre-meets. Never walk into a high-stakes session cold. Conduct one-to-one briefings with key stakeholders and board members. Identify objections and craft your responses. Solicit alignment and support from voices in advance. This doesn't just reduce friction, it builds psychological safety before you step into the spotlight. Bring in the team, bring in your own team, but curate the moment. You don't always have to be the expert in the room. It's good to bring in the experts from within your team and share some of that expertise. The last one is elevate education beyond governance. Boards often lack fluency in cyber, but they don't want to admit it. So provide a quarterly non-governance education session. You can have that chaired by the CEO or a senior sponsor of the organization. You can run them for a couple of hours. They're a great opportunity as a non-governance forum for people to ask those what would seem as stupid questions. they're a really smart move. According to Deloitte, boards that receive clear, contextual cyber briefings are 3.5 times more likely to fund strategic cybersecurity initiatives proactively. In high-stakes committees, you are no longer a defender of systems, you are a steward of organizational resilience. Own the room, own the narrative, and own your future career success. Momentum builder number 5. Embed sustainable confidence. Great leadership isn't just about what happens when you're in the room, it's about what continues to happen when you're not. The final momentum builder is about building resilient, adaptive systems that allow the business to thrive independently. It's about the difference between leadership and dependency. True confidence at the board level is knowing that the organization can detect and respond and recover to threats without a single heroic intervention. Make adaptive red teaming a leadership tool. Red teaming is something I've done a fantastic job over the last few years, building a team of award-winning red teamers up to about 15 people. Red team is not just a technical activity, it's a strategic signal. Design threat-level scenarios that challenge business-critical assumptions. Those scenarios really bring those control risks to life. Red teaming should be visible to executives. It helps share those narratives. It lets the board understand how your systems can respond when they're being attacked. It's not just technical. It gives you a cultural sense of how the attackers move across your organization and brings those threats to life. A really powerful way to engage a senior executive audience, including your board members. Move from secure by design to secure by default. Okay, enable business units to understand that they need to lead secure innovation by embedding cybersecurity into their products and services as they're being built. So this includes developers, infrastructure builders who sit in the business. We want cybersecurity to be second nature to them, so they are designing it in and not relying on the cybersecurity professionals. Of course, we're going to test afterwards as cybersecurity professionals, but we want it designed in by default. We want to be able to know that the controls are going to be robust as it comes into a live environment. And we can run some metrics to make sure that those controls are being built in by design. Also, we can have those being built in by design into those business processes, which can also mean a shift left accountability where we need less security tools, therefore reducing some of those costs. Another great way to engage is deliver written products that influence beyond your team. It really builds your brand and embeds influence in places that you can't always be. Link metrics to confidence, not just compliance. Organizational readiness is a really good way to link metrics to confidence, especially when you're doing that around some of those scenario cyber crisis testing. Accenture found that organizations that embed cybersecurity leadership and pipelines decentralized controls see 30% faster recovery and 42% higher board confidence in some of those crisis situations. Sustainable confidence isn't just the finish line, it's a design principle. Okay, let's move from scrutiny to strategic advantage. Let's just summarize. So winning in the boardroom isn't just about knowing all the technical details, it's about mastering influence, building credibility, and aligning cybersecurity with strategic business priorities. When you accumulate and sustain all 5 momentum builders, you get executive alignment that becomes effortless, trust becomes institutionalized, you become essential to decision making, confidence becomes scalable. So you move from reactive to respected, consulted to indispensable. This is what separates the top 1% cybersecurity leaders from the rest. Cybersecurity leadership is no longer just about securing systems, it's about securing trust, securing progress, and securing the future. If this video has helped shift your perspective as a cybersecurity leader, board member or CEO, or even a business leader, if it gives you the tools that you can act on, then don't let it end here. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell so that you never miss our high impact content for you as a cybersecurity professional, board member, CEO, or business leader. If you believe others could benefit from this message, please share it. Share it with your peers, your mentees, or someone in your network who needs a breakthrough. And finally, if you want to understand more about your own readiness, head to the Cyber Leadership Institute page and look for the Strike Assessment, your CISO or Cybersecurity Assessment Readiness, and run through that assessment. It's free, it's fast, and it's built on real-world executive performance data. You'll walk away knowing your leadership profile and where you can focus next. I'm Darren Argyle, out.